Eloise, how is your day going aside from answering the same questions over and over and over again today?
Hey Darren, yeah, my day is great. I'm in the south of France in Cannes here for the film festival. So it's been very busy with meetings, but also a great opportunity to catch up with all the fellow filmmakers. And yeah, I'll be honest, I'm having a blast here.
So, do you say con, cons, cans? What's the correct way? I still don't know.
I say kick it like you can.
Well done. Well done. So, we're connected because you have a new movie, The Last Gunfight, and I've
Yes.
had the pleasure of speaking with some of your castmates and all that, hardworking people. But how did you get involved in The Last Gunfight?
Well, it was an audition. I got the script, I loved it, and went through from Fern, went through the first round of auditions, taped, and then got the recall. And the rest, as they say, is history.
The rest is history. You're playing Samantha Griffin in this production. How similar are you to Samantha?
I'm pretty similar. She's a badass. She fights. So I'm a martial artist, and that's
Yes.
really what drew me to the project. As you know, there's a lot of great fighters and actors, but they all have a fight background, and that's very rare. So I already knew of some of their work, and it was just really exciting opportunity to relish to work with the top martial artists and actors. So I would say I'm very similar to the character. I have definitely well, I'm a fighter and I have high value on honor and family, and she fights for her family. This is a revenge. She's fighting for her brother. The competition isn't that she's not interested in winning the prize. She's only there for one reason, without giving too much away. But I
Sure.
resonate. I've got a twin sister. I would do anything for her. So I really relate to that character a lot. Very strong-willed.
One of the castmates that you mentioned as a martial artist is Adam. And
Yeah.
something that Adam told me in our recent interview, he said he doesn't lose his accent. He doesn't drop the accent for the entire production. Is that true?
That is 100% true. And props to him because I thought he was American, as did all of us. So much so that when he broke at the end, I mean, it's not just a British accent, it's from Liverpool. So it's quite a remarkable change. And all of us thought it sounded phony. His real accent sounded, I didn't believe it. And all of us were like, well, his American was more convincing than his own accent. So that's how much he had us fooled.
But you don't do anything like that, correct?
Not on this. I had a British accent for this, so I I can go pretty method as well. I
Oh,
understand it. And I think when you're coming from the UK, I think it's great to stay in an accent. I've done it. I did a southern accent, and I stayed in that the whole time when I shot that. So I understand that definitely. I think it just helps.
I would have to imagine there's a connection between that and the martial arts background in that when you commit to something, you are committed to it, that you don't mind the work, and then it's easier to stay on the regimen than it is to go on and off. Am I wrong about that?
Agreed. I think martial arts really instills discipline. So I would agree. Most of the martial artists I know are very disciplined people. And so, yeah, I think that philosophy just carries through in every area of your life.
Sure. Now, successful modeling career before the successful acting career and the successful martial arts work and all that. But had you been to Bulgaria before working on The Last Gunfight?
Yes. So, funny enough, at the start of that year, I'd been out with Millennium to do a film with them. And then my very first movie was shot in Bulgaria, and I was a kid and I hadn't been back out since. And then, wildly enough, I've been out there a bunch of times in the last year. So yeah, it was great. It was great to be reacquainted with that place.
So that's not the Royals that was shot out there, correct?
No, it wasn't the Royals.
Okay.
That was shot in London.
Okay. These days, you never really know. A lot of things say, it's great to be here in New York and it's really Georgia or New Mexico or that kind of a thing. Are you finding that the majority of things that you work on are not really filmed in New York, Los Angeles, or London?
Yeah, I mean, for yes, I think there has been a movement to a lot of things filming in the UK, but then I think it's always dependent on what the locations require. I would equally love to go to the States. I think being a UK talent is just, obviously more opportunities we're considered when it's in the UK
Hmm.
but it's equally, I've done projects in the States, so it's a nice balance. I think, I always enjoy wherever the film takes me.
How long did you spend living in New York?
A year full time out there, and then on off for 3 years. I was traveling back and forwards.
In a good way, I think you're kind of nomadic. I would have to imagine that modeling, acting, and martial arts kind of leads you to 6 months living everywhere. Or am I wrong and you actually do call a place home these days?
Well, I do agree. I feel like I've always been pretty globally with my work. Yeah, it takes me everywhere, and I love that. Home is, I mean, I'm British, so home is London, but I see the world as my home, and I love traveling, even being here in the south of France. I think when you're doing what you love with a community you love, anywhere is home. Home is a film set.
Great answer. So, Last Gunfight to us, new movie. To you and to IMDb, it's an old movie. Are we allowed to know what's coming next, where we're going to see you next, or is that all under embargo?
It's under embargo, but I have a couple more movies with the same team coming out, so stay tuned for those.
So, those, without putting too many words in your mouth, those new movies could include Adam and or Martin and or John Voight and or the usual cast of
Yeah,
characters.
yeah. I mean, those guys they've
Yes.
done a few. It's a different cast on each, but yeah. So kind of different films. I'm not. They're not action films, which is a deviation for me because I mean, I don't just do action, but it's lovely when I get
Right.
to mix it up, and I appreciate these guys for giving me the opportunity to showcase everything else that I do other than action. However, I'm super excited. Saying that, I'm super stoked for this one because the action is phenomenal.
Great. Well, two quick questions and then I let you go. And the first one is, what's the main hobby when you're not busy with martial arts and or acting or career work?
Writing.
Oh, okay. Can you tell me more about that? What do you write?
Although I guess that fell into career work, but it is something that started as a hobby, is now turned serious, like it all does, like with acting, martial arts, and now writing. I've written a series and a film. Um, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's a little under embargo and are being shopped around at the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Other hobbies, I meditate.
You meditate, you write,
Yeah.
etc. And then
Just answer off the violence, I gotta yin and yang.
yin and yang. And the last question I have for you, as a fitness person,
Yeah.
what music do you listen to when it's time to get into the zone?
That's a really good shout. I actually have a playlist with can't think of any of the artists right now, but it's hype music. It's like going into battle. It might be an epic score sometimes if I hear something, or it's like really empowering words, but it's definitely like it's got to be fight music. Can't think of any of the artists, but yeah, I have a playlist that's specifically designed for when I need to get into the zone. It helps as well sometimes on set, like I mean, we don't use music, but certainly when I used to teach the martial arts that I do, I noticed I switch on a certain type of music and we're like, okay, we're going to war. Let's do this.
The
And so everyone's
yin.
amped and in the zone. But yeah, it's not gonna be classical music. It's not gonna be anything too zen. It's gonna be like, yeah, fight music.
Good to know. Well, thank you for your time. Looking forward to those future projects and congrats on the last gunfight. Enjoy France while you can.
Merci beaucoup.
Paltrocast.